We're going to take a quick look at sharing and what we're doing with it in the interface. It's a good way to understand how the sharing code is intended to work. Okay, so we're looking at iDrop Web2, which is a new release of the web browser that we're getting ready to do. And one of the changes we made was to introduce this home page, kind of a dashboard, where you can get quick views of files and folders you might be dealing with. This is different than the original iDrop Web, which had as its sort of main view this tree, which is still available under Browse. But anyway, the idea here is that you can have different categories of files and folders, and these might be things you're working with at any particular point in time, and you can do things to the files and folders in your collection to get them into this view. And one thing you can do is star them. So we had this idea of, in this case, here's a collection that's been starred, and by virtue of being starred, it can show up here in your view, and you can do things like upload directly to that folder, or click this folder icon and pop over and see the file in the tree. And here you can see when you click on a folder in the home view, it brings you to Browse with that folder as the root of your tree, and then so here you can see the folder's been starred, so you have an unstar option. And the way we're doing starring is with special metadata tags. So here we're looking at an AVU with this special unit which says it's been starred. And then here too you can see we're also using special AVUs for tagging. So anything that's tagged as an AVU with that special tag unit shows up as a tag here. So you can see here there's a tag of hello that reflects that AVU, and then you can see those things in the tag view. So for example, here I click on the tag and I can see all the files and folders that are tagged as such, and again go back and browse that. So the idea is that we're just using the iRod's AVU facility, but we're sort of adding these different meanings to them. And one of the new things that we've done is add a special tag for a share, which is very much like a star, but it also includes information from the iRod's access control list to create these shares. So probably better to demonstrate it than try to explain it. So I'm here in Browse View, and I'm in my home directory, and I've got a collection called Demo Shares, and it has a couple folders in it. So here's a folder called Share1 that has one file in it. Okay, and as you can see, it's a normal collection, and if I go into the sharing view here, I can see that it has an ACL, an access control list entry for myself, which is the owner. So here I'm logged in as test3. Okay, so what we want to do is share this collection, Share1, with a different user, and I'm logged into a user called test2 in this browser. Okay, and here's my home view here. Okay, so you can see a new panel here called for sharing, and you have a button here that says add a share. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to click that, and it says add a top level share visible to users you give access rights to. So we're going to call the share demo for video, let's say. Okay, and we'll update that. So when I update, what I'm really doing is adding a new AVU. So you can see here that I have a special unit called share, and the attribute of that AVU is the name that I've given the share. Okay, so far so good. So now back in the sharing tab, you can see that I've changed this little panel here, so now I can see that this file is marked as a share with the name demo for video, and users with access rights will see that as a share. So just using the normal ACL editing, let's create a new access control entry. So you want to give read access to the user test2. Here he is. So we'll update. Okay, so now you can see here, here's the new ACL for read. So now let's go to user test2 and say, give me folders that are shared with me. And there you go. So very simply, by merit of being tagged over here with the metadata value for a share, and having an access control list entry, I see that as a folder that's shared with me. And so here I can select this, and if I wanted to, I could upload data to that folder, or by the same ways with the stars, I click this, and I'm taken to that folder, and you can see here, for example, is a data object in that folder. So if I pop over to Info View and look here, I can do things like download that data. Okay, so the reason for the share is, again, it's still powered by the iRod's ACL system, and we were looking at how to show, if I'm a user, what's shared with me or what am I sharing with another user. And the problem becomes when these collections get really large and they're deeply nested and they have lots of files, it gets really hard to sort of convey to a user what exactly is being shared. And so giving it the special tag can group a collection as being a share, and that works really nicely, again, because when I look in this view, it actually becomes much smaller in terms of the performance of the queries to find the shares, and it's much easier for a user to comprehend. So instead of seeing 10,000 files in a list here, I can actually see that the parent folder for the share has a alias name that we can use to describe why that file is being shared. And also, using this sort of idea, it becomes sort of a drive that you can mount. So I can work within that share. I can see all the files and folders within it, but I don't have to page through a list of 10,000 items to find the share I'm looking for. And just to kind of reinforce how this works with the access control list, let's go here now and let's delete access to user test 2. Okay, so just by merit of deleting that access, I come back here and say folder shared with me, and now that share is gone. So we haven't altered how ACLs work in iRods. All we've done is just add a little bit of sugar on top of it using AVUs, and we can create mountable shares and show them to users in a simple view. So hopefully that'll help with your data sharing needs, and I think this will be a cool new feature for iDrop Web.